According to the Domesday Book, the Conqueror, King William, took, as was his right, and his alone, the settlement at Breaston. To further exercise this right, he gave it to a noble knight. Now this brave knight, Richard de Buccleuch, he supped, 'tis said, on prunes and muesli before retiring. Heed the warning. He was an early knight next morning. Some knights were brave, some knights were bold, and some were full of glory. Some nights are dark, some nights are cold. But that's another story. The fact that Breaston had no church, this faithful knight thought bad. 'Twas sorely special services, and funerals Wilne St. Chad. If you'd no horse, you'd walk, of course, for none of them had cycles. So in 1199, work started on St. Michael. Carpenters and stonemasons brought wood and stone and tools, and levels, squares and compasses. These builders were no fools. Unfortunately, down Duck Lane, there dwelt a boy, a little Pain. He tied cats' tails and frightened dogs, and wrote in public places. But this lad's speciality was pulling ugly faces, with cheeks puffed out and elbows bent, and thumbs stuck in his ears. One dear old lady died of fright. His mother was in tears. "Pulling them meagrams," said his dad. "You'll stop like it one day, my lad." But soon the workmen, honest blokes, became the butt of all his jokes, and oft their tools this demon took, and slung them in the Golden Brook. Large mixing buckets, used for mortar, were often filled with mucky water, and if they caught him at his pranks, he'd scarper off along the planks. And then, to add to the disgrace, he'd swear at them and pull a face, with cheeks puffed out and elbows bent. A devil's brew of merriment. Came retribution one fine day. One friendly mason, so they say, caught the boy climbing in the chapel and proffered him a toffee apple. The lad leaned down and shouted, "Chuck it," then fell head first into the bucket. This unaware, the workman cheered, as with a squelch he disappeared. Seeing him topple off his perch, the workmen then began to search. But as no trace of him they found, assumed that he had gone to ground. And, as it was the local wake, they knocked off early for a break. The hapless boy became in days a trifle set within his ways. Now at this wake, the workmen try to drink the local alehouse dry. One chance remark made all a drink, gave the stonemason pause to think. Hey up, yon lad with all the cheeks been missing for nigh on a week. The thoughtful mason sipped his ale, then turned a whiter shade of pale. The bucket's large, the lad's much shorter. Could he have fallen in the mortar? If yon lad's fallen in that mixture, he'll likely be a permanent fixture. They called a meeting at the site and recognised their colleague's plight. His fellow workmen then decide that dubious bucket they must hide. They buried it, though gripped with fright, on Duffield Close at dead of night. And there the lad lay, stoned at peace, and guarded by a flock of geese. Time slipped by like trickling sand, and soon the Black Death stalked the land, and wore out all the local lads who carried coffins to St. Chad's. Then quoth one local benefactor, the inventor of the horse-drawn tractor, I'm tired of going to Wilne and Sawley. We could extend this chapel, surely. So, leaving All Saints in the lurch, they started work on Breaston Church. An architect arrived one day and viewed the job with some dismay. He said, you need a bit more filler, just where yon archway meets the pillar. The builder's merchant gave a groan. We've used up every scrap of stone. Then one old mason intervenes and blows the gaff and spills the beans. Thus, feeling guilty and morose, they all adjourned to Duffield Close. One moment, if you care to wait, we'll fetch our spades and excavate. So, reinforced with jars of ale, those workmen sought the missing pail, till there among the mud congealed, the mason's secret was revealed. The diggers cried, we are in luck, it appears to be the missing bucket. They left a crater, sad to say, that's there until this very day. Although they struggled, pulled and yelled, that stony lump was firmly held. Their cries for help then quickly brought a crowd of every kind and sort. The vandals saw their chance and took it, to beat the bounds and kick the bucket. This, as the seasons came and went, became an annual event. Descendants of these medieval clangers are known as Breaston bucket bangers. One hefty bang dislodged the lump, and there he was, the silly chump. Out he came as in he went, with cheeks puffed out and elbows bent. Square pegs in round holes do not fit. Take heed what wise men say. 'Tis destiny that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we may. They had to chip him here and there, seeing the lad was not born square. They shaped the back end of his body and placed the arch upon his noddy. Observing the builder's clever ploy to make use of the stone-faced boy, the priest in charge cried, "Oh, what a lark! You've certainly left your mason's mark. Thousands who worship in this place will gaze upon this cheeky face, and may their hearts be filled with joy as they behold the Breaston Boy." And so, dear children, if you would, be good, obey, do as you should, be kind, respectful, do no wrong, It may be dull, but you'll live long. But if you're cheeky and pull faces, you could end up in prominent places.